Before my surgery 2 weeks ago to blow up a big kidney stone I had, which I like to call Operation Death Star, I decided that I was going to offer up any sufferings or hurts that I had for our parish. And I say that not to brag about it, but as those, thank God, brief moments of pain happened, well, I was able to turn to Christ, to depend on His strength, but also to know that as I was doing this, as I was suffering this, that it was bringing about graces for someone else, that it was giving birth to graces that are blessing someone else. Well, there's something similar happening in our readings today. In our first reading, we hear about Paul, who is spending a year and a half in this place, and we only hear just a couple verses about it. And we can imagine that based on what we do hear about it, that this was a pretty trying time for him. But it also shaped him and molded him into the man he became and the saint he became. A great reminder that oftentimes our struggles or our pains are often not seen by everyone. Jesus in our gospel today reassures us that our sufferings and our hurts are giving birth to something new, something good. He says we will be in anguish now, but one day we will know joy. And he uses the analogy of a woman in labor. He says, you may suffer now, but your sorrow will be turned to joy. And just as a woman in labor doesn't forget the pain after the child is born, which I've heard is debatable, what's important is the joy that we experience afterward. I love this image because it's also used in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Around that altar where only the Pope can celebrate Mass are these 4 giant pillars that lead up to a giant metal canopy called a baldacchino. And at the bottom of these spiral pillars are square bases. And on these bases, or square bases, are reliefs on each side of those bases. And on those are different images of a woman. And as you move around the altar, you see that this woman's anguish is growing and growing and growing. Her pain is intensifying, and her face gets more and more contorted as she is in this agony. And at the very end, the last panel, in place of her face, is the image of a baby. So here is this image of a woman giving birth, as our gospel today, to this child. It's a reminder that when we unite our sufferings to the sacrifice of Christ on the altar, both individually and collectively, that these are giving birth to Christ in the world, that we, by our very sufferings, are presenting the face of Christ to the world today.